everyone? Thanks for joining me. It's Curtis. Welcome back. If you think AI was the biggest money wave of the decade, you've got to be ready for what's coming next. Quantum computing is making a big move, and who knows if it's about to explode. In my opinion, the stocks in this sector could deliver life-changing gains for those who get in early. Today, I'm going to break it all down for you. I'll show you the exact quantum stocks you must keep on your radar right now today. We're going to do a quick technical analysis so you can see how the sector is performing, where it's headed, and the massive outlook ahead. Plus, I'll give you a quick and dirty breakdown of the 5 hottest quantum stocks dominating this space right now, and I'm revealing one secret quantum stock that's about to hit the radar and could absolutely get a parabolic jumpstart. If you want to stay ahead of the next massive tech wave and not just stay tunnel vision in AI stocks, you should watch this video until the very end, because by the time this video is over, I promise you'll know exactly which quantum plays deserves your attention. But before we get going, hit that like button for me, hit that subscribe button for me. If you got any questions, any comments, drop it into the comment section for me. Let's dive in. So the first thing I'm going to walk you all through is actually a couple articles that I pulled up to show you all where quantum computing stands right now. I do have this ETF up, and I'm going to show you all how the readings on the quantum ETF is going, right? This right here consists of all your primary quantum stocks. But first, we'll go ahead and take a look at this article here on Barron's. This article is titled Fast Tracks Quantum Computing with New Executive Orders. That's a big thing that has been heading the headline for quantum stocks. Of course, quantum stocks getting a lot of federal funding because the administration wants to go ahead and try to pursue quantum computing, be ahead of technology. I'm going to read these key points right here for us, okay? First one, quantum stocks rise following 2 presidential executive orders supporting quantum computing development. A presidential order mandates a fault-tolerant quantum computer for scientific research by 2028, 2 years ahead of most industry targets. If you think about it, ahead of what they wanted to actually thought that they were going to be able to push this stuff out. We want it 2 years faster. Think about it. It's less than 2 years from now. It's already in the middle of 2026. And then last bullet point, the government will accelerate migration to post-quantum cryptography by 2031 to counter QUBT when quantum systems can crack encryption. All right, so essentially the US government just made 2 big moves to push quantum forward, right? Quantum stocks jumped on the news. First off, they were supposed to build a super quantum computer fast, right? This was ordered to create working, reliable quantum computer by 2028. We just mentioned that this is 2 years earlier than most companies were planning. Of course, it will be a big science project and problem that normal computers aren't able to solve. So they've got to put all this stuff together. The government's going to be working with these companies and labs to make it happen. And then number 2, okay, protecting the secrets from quantum attacks. That's, got to be ahead of technology, got to be ahead of our competitors out there, are the global competitors. And so quantum computers, at the end of the day, could essentially one day break today's encryption, which is called QUBT. So the government's forcing a switch to new quantum proof security. Of course, as mentioned, right, 2030, 2031-ish. This protects important government systems and data, and that's, for national security, that's the bottom line. That's big time. At the end of the day, we want to lead in quantum tech and, of course, stay safe. That's the big thing. This is good news for quantum companies, in my opinion. You're talking about DWAVE, you're talking about IONQ, you're talking about IBM. Those are the companies that I'm going to be running us through some technical analysis on their stocks and to see how they're doing. Stocks rose because investors are seeing the future of the business with all this going on, okay? Now, here's the second article that I've got for you all. It says 2 stocks that could benefit from quantum executive orders. This one was on Zacks, and right here I highlighted the main points. Executive orders marks important policy shift beyond basic research toward commercialization, signals that quantum becomes a strategic technology with implications for economic competitive, cybersecurity, defense, rather than solely as a long-term scientific research initiative. And that's exactly what I had mentioned. We have to have this for cybersecurity, for national security. The thing is, right now, for the most part, they've been really working with a lot of the universities for scientific research to improve quantum computing. But this is, of course, going to be used for strategic technology now, with the U.S. federal government funding all this quantum computing, trying to push this out faster than it's supposed to come out. So that's exactly why I said, hey, don't just stay tunnel vision in AI, especially if you're looking at long-term stocks. These right here can potentially become what the AI world was before, and that's why a lot of the investors are really paying attention to this stuff. Right here it says, among pure play quantum companies, Quantum Computing Inc., QUBT, and International Business Machines, IBM, stand out, giving their exposure to the sector long-term commercialization and deployment trends. The revised strategy will prioritize domestic manufacturing, workforce development, public-private partnerships, and the commercialization of quantum technologies. And that's exactly all this great news for quantum computing is pushing the stocks up. I'm going to show you exactly how it's looking. Before, it was actually being pushed up because of AI, and artificial intelligence shedded light on what quantum computing can actually do, although they're two separate realms. But with the push from the government and the U.S. quantum initiatives, this is pushing their stocks up even higher. Right now is an opportunity for some of the folks to actually research, look into it, if it's going to be able to fit their portfolios. But we'll go ahead and go back to the ETF that I had mentioned, okay? This is QTUM. This ETF covers all of your main quantum stocks. I'm talking about IONQ, IBM, QUBT, RGTI, QBTS. So you have to pay attention to how this ETF is moving. The way that it moves is exactly the trend of quantum computing based off of that bucket of quantum stocks. Now, again, I'm going to cover the individual stocks, but we'll just go ahead and take a quick look through how QTUM, the ETF, has been performing. So right now I've got the 6-month view. We'll go ahead and back it up to a 1-year view. As you can tell, the ETF was roughly at about $90-ish, and as of today, it's up at about the 160-ish range. So if we zoom into the 6-month performance from the beginning of the year, essentially, the red line that I've got here is the 25-day moving average. The lighter pinkish red line is the 100-day moving average. This tells us the momentum of the moving average. The red line, the shorter 25-day, has been on top, although it did drop below the longer moving average and then surpassed it again. It's got strong momentum moving up since about April here. So as far as the moving average, it's looking pretty good. The 25-day moving average has surpassed the 100-day. It's got good, strong momentum. That's why we see this rise in price. And then if you take a look at the RSI, that shows us if the ETF has been overbought or oversold. Between April and May, it was roughly went from about 40-ish to in the 80-ish, and that shows that, you know, anything above 70-ish is going to be overbought. Good momentum there. It started consolidating after May, and then kind of came down a little bit. So it's consolidating at this point right here. It's roughly at about in the 50-ish, close 47 last market session. So momentum is it's, you know, I mean, there's an even buyer and seller, and that's essentially what kind of explains this consolidation part right here since for all of June practically. As far as the MACD, that's the moving average convergence divergence. We have the MACD line, it's in the green here, and it's been on top of the signal line from April through June. So that shows that it's been having a lot of buying momentum as well. It did come down a little bit here, and now it's currently under the signal line, which means that the momentum have slowed down a little bit for the buying. That's why we see a lot of red down here. If you put this all together, okay, at the end of the day, we've got the price. It's kind of stagnated right here in the 150-ish, 160-ish level. It's consolidating, going like this right now. The RSI for overbought, undersold momentum, it's showing us the consolidation at about the 50 range. It's not oversold below the 30-ish, 20-ish level. It's not overbought over the 70, 80-ish level right now. So it's kind of in the middle. That's where the momentum's at. That tells me that, you know, it's been doing that for the last month, which the price is holding right now, waiting on some sort of catalyst to bring it up higher or some sort of news to bring it lower, of course. And then right here, the moving average convergence divergence, the momentum, of course, has slowed down, and the MACD line is now under the signal line. So that was the QTUM ETF, which covers all of the quantum stocks. Now we'll go ahead and move into IONQ. Now, in my opinion, IONQ is the top pure play quantum stock. As of right now, they're known to acquire all of these quantum companies and put them together, growing through acquisitions. They're also doing a lot of research and development with quantum computing, fast-growing sales by customer orders, and strong tech, best balance of real business and big upside. We'll cover IONQ and with how the way that they've been performing in the last 6 months. If you can tell right here, again, the same thing with the lighter pinkish reddish line, that's the 100-day moving average. It has now been surpassed by the 50-day moving average. They call that the golden cross. That shows that we've got momentum. So it's got pretty good momentum. Right now, last closed at $49. If you take a look at the RSI, it's in the 40 range. It's not being oversold or underbought. Doesn't really have much momentum as well. And then for the MACD line is under the signal line. So of course the momentum there has shifted down a little bit more bearish. As you can tell, the stock price has gone down for the past month. Now, if you take a look, IBM, I think that they're probably the biggest beneficiary of the quantum world, because they're the, of course, largest, most established company. And then on top of that, they have the U.S. funding, they have the U.S. backing. I think IBM, of course, they're big, they're a stable company, and definitely a quantum leader. It gets government money, as I mentioned, and makes steady progress. So it's good for safe gains, but I think that it's also too huge to go parabolic in price, like, you know, skyrocketing like some of these other more pure play companies. Now, if you take a look at IBM, we have the moving average, and then for the most part of this year, the 25-day moving average was below the long 100-day moving average. It did surpass in June, climbed up a little bit, and it's staying on top. So it's got upward momentum right now, with RSI in the 60ish range. So it's got good momentum, climbing up. As you can tell, the price has been climbing up. This is moving towards the overbought. And overbought doesn't mean that it's a scary stock or stock that's not good to buy because it's overbought. But definitely something that for you to make that judgment on what's best for you. At the same time, you got to keep in mind that it also shows that a lot of people want to buy it, so it's got that buying momentum. Then if you take a look at the MACD, we have the MACD line is now kind of even at the even point, although at the beginning of June it was over the signal line. The MACD line was over the signal line. It has now kind of made it into the middle. We're going to have to keep an eye out on that. We see the green histogram right here that shows that there's a lot of buying, but then of course there might be a reversion, so keep an eye out on that if you're interested in IBM. Next up, we have QUBT. And for me personally, QUBT, right, the share prices are cheap, so a lot of people might be interested in that, but just be careful. I think that potentially the stock can spike on hype, but in my opinion, it also has a higher chance of big drops and volatility as well. So if you take a look at QUBT, the 100-day moving average has been on top for the most part for the year. Now it was surpassed by the moving average, the shorter moving average golden cross, kind of made even as of today. So you take a look at the RSI 42, currently doesn't have strong momentum, is not oversold as well. And then the MACD line is under the signal line. So the momentum slowed down quite a bit for QUBT. Although again, right, I mean, it's a cheaper, it closed last at $9.05. It's a cheaper quantum stock, so a lot of folks keep their eyes on that just for the potential and possibilities of gain. But be careful with QUBT. As you can tell, we go back to IBM, right, they're at $289. We go back to IONQ, they're at $49.61. QUBT is a lot more affordable, so some folks might want to take a look into that. Just be mindful of the volatility there. Then we've got RGTI, and they're at $17.94 here. You take a look at their moving average, the red line, the 25-day moving average surpassed the 100-day moving average in June, just like all the other quantum stocks, and then now starting to trend downwards a little bit there. The RSI, same thing as QUBT, in the 40-ish range. So there's a lot of consolidation there, not too much upward momentum. And then the MACD line is now under the signal line. So of course that's showing us, and if you can tell, there's a little red line right there for the red bar right there for the histogram chart, which shows us that there's downward bearish momentum. Now, if you don't know much about quantum stocks and RGTI, so Rigetti generally, they use superconducting tech, right? They can jump hard on good news. And, you know, at the same time, I think they can trail other stocks like IBM, IONQ in sales and results, because obviously they're a smaller company, but of course, higher risk, higher reward potential. So it's been a hot stock for the quantum sector as well. Now, we'll go ahead and wrap it up with QBTS, DWAVE. They've been very popular as well, kind of in between RGTI, IONQ, and QUBT, right? They're at $22.50 closing last market session. Now, as far as DWAVE, they focus on quick optimization problems. They have real customers, but different technology. And of course, just like the quantum stocks, volatile and popular with traders, especially because if you take a look at it, right, $22 got huge, great potential with going parabolic. A lot of folks like DWAVE. So if you take a look at the moving average of 25 days, same thing as all the other ones. The shorter, more recent moving average surpassed the longer average. Why is that? That was because of the news that we had just read, right? With the government wanting to push quantum computing forward into the future. That made all of these stocks climb up together. They call that sympathy trading right there, and everything, you know, I mean, when one stock gets a boost, the rest of them start trailing along with it. Same thing happened in the space industry with SpaceX, Rocket Lab, ASTS, etc. Same thing happens with these chip stocks, right? When NVDA climbs up, you got AMD, you've got Broadcom. So if you apply that here in this sector for quantum computing, this is exactly why we had June skyrocket for these quantum computing stocks. Okay, so that was the moving average for DWAVE. Now, if you take a look at the RSI, it's in the mid 40s as well. Not a lot of upward, not a lot of being oversold or overbought. So it's kind of consolidating. That's what we're getting right there. And then if we take a look at the MACD, it is the MACD line is slightly under the signal line. So again, right, it's starting to consolidate. Now, since we wrapped up with DWAVE, if you were to ask me, my opinion is that you should keep an eye out for any type of catalyst that can potentially move these quantum stocks up. That's earnings call, any good news from any sponsors, any funding from the government. At the same time, you want to watch out for any bad news. So keep an eye out on any of these articles coming out early in the mornings. You can take a look at the articles on the stock themselves. For example, if you were to if you were to search up the stock on Yahoo Finance, you scroll down, they've got an AI that tells us exactly what's going on with it right here. I would still take that with a grain of salt, but then they have the recent news down here. So it's easier for you to locate all the consolidated news rather than trying to search and research it yourself. They're here. So for example, right, this one came out 6 hours ago. Is DWAVE Quantum a buy? But it's from Motley Fools. A lot of time you want to kind of keep an eye out on who the article is written by, and then of course see what kind of credibility they have there. So just some tips for you all. Now, the last thing that we're going to cover is actually a stock that has hit the NASDAQ. This stock right here, IQM, begins trading. What to know about the newly listed quantum stock. Now, this stock right here may have the opportunity to go parabolic since they just hit the NASDAQ. I'll hit some of these key points right here. IQM Quantum Computers became the first European quantum computing company to list on a major U.S. exchange, debuting Thursday on the NASDAQ. American depositories receipts for IQM quantum computers are listed under the symbol IQMX. IQM Quantum Computers will begin trading on the NASDAQ on Friday as part of its dual listing. So again, they made history Thursday, first European quantum computing company to list on a major U.S. stock exchange. Of course, it's on the NASDAQ. This is their ticker, the IQMX. Keep an eye out on that. And I'm going to read this quote right here for us. We have seen that our peers, which have already listed, have been doing quite well. CEO Jan Goetz said in interview with Barron's ahead of the listing. They have been raising lots of money on the public market through at-the-market offerings. So we thought it was something to consider from a fundraising perspective. So they see an opportunity there, and that's what they're jumping on. IQMX, this is their stock. This is the chart, and if you can tell, this was on Thursday. They jumped up, obviously, because they were listed on the NASDAQ now. Kind of came down a little bit during that day. And then they've been kind of just trifling around that $12 and the higher $12 range. So keep an eye out on this stock. Any hot news for quantum can push it up. But at the end of the day, right, you got to remember all these quantum computing stocks are very volatile. You got to see if it's going to fit your palate, your taste, your portfolio. That's going to be your judgment call, whatever's best for you. Whatever I'm sharing with you, I just want to be informative and help you all out, not financial advice. I just want to share this stuff with you guys, share this knowledge that I've picked up and researched. Best of luck to you. I do personally like quantum computing for the long term, but a safer play, in my opinion, would probably be playing the TF or IBM as their larger company and more backed by U.S. government as well. Tell me what you think in the comments. If you got any questions, drop it into the comments. Tell me what you like about these quantum stocks. Tell me which quantum stocks you like. Tell me why you like these quantum stocks. Please help educate me as well. Drop it into the comment section. I'll respond there. Click that like button for me. Click that subscribe button for me. Again, I'm Curtis. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy 4th of July. Make it a great weekend.